Okay, it's recording. So let's go start with a slide, PowerPoint slide. Eras in geologic history. Today we'll be demonstrating an app on the iPhone called Earth Viewer. It's really nice, it shows us various continents over geologic times, geologic history. So here I have a table that summarizes the history of Earth over geologic time. So Earth was formed 4.6 billion years ago, and it goes all the way to now. So the first period, there's no history because there was no life, or only basic form of life, unicellular. There were no bones, no hard shells left, so no fossils. Okay, these three periods. It all starts, interesting, history starts 540 million years ago, called the Cambrian. So multicellular life, then the Cambrian explosion of life, lots of life, and then all of these periods to the Permian. So from 540 million years ago to 250 million years ago. It's referred to as the era of the vertebrates. It's also, scientific name is Paleozoic. Okay, it existed 250 million years ago. Then after that, there's the era of the reptiles and birds, including the dinosaurs, or also known as the Mesozoic, divided into three periods: Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. So from 250 million years ago to 65 million years ago, when most of the dinosaurs got wiped out. A huge meteorite hit the Gulf of Mexico, created a huge cloud all over Earth, so there was no sunlight, all of the vegetation died out, and the dinosaurs died out as well. So during this period, there were very small mammals, not many of them. Dinosaurs were huge. So mammals were the size of a rat or a squirrel. Death of the dinosaurs gave a chance to the mammals to grow and prosper. So the last era of the mammals, or called Cenozoic, from 65 million years ago to now. There are many global warmings and global coolings, including the last global cooling, just like glaciation, which is from 1.8 million years ago to about 10,000 years ago. We'll look at all of these in Earth Viewer. Okay, what I did is I opened a program called Lonely Screen on my laptop, and then used my iPhone and swiped up the screen up, then did screen mirroring on my iPhone so that I can see the iPhone screen on the laptop. Okay, so let me see, where is it? There it is. So I see all of my apps, and then I'm interested in Earth Viewer. Okay, there it is. So this is Earth. Can either use the globe or use a flat map. This is how far back. So let me go back to now. This is 0 million years ago. The temperature, atmospheric temperature around 15 degrees C averaged over Earth, averaged over the whole year. And carbon dioxide around 400 parts per million ppm. Okay, so let's scan backward just quickly. So this is going back in time, like 72 million years ago. This is how the continents were. You see, there were a lot of seas inside the continents, and the continents were forming. They were drifting. You can see the Midwest, the Rockies was almost separate. Then all of these seas in the middle of the United States. You can see Asia, lots of water. North Africa, look at that, was split into two pieces. South America as well. Look where India was. India was close to Madagascar, very far. Australia was farther south, and so on. Let's go back farther in time and then we'll look at specific periods. Okay, so this is 124 million years ago, more of the same. So the west coast here was completely separate, and there was a way to go from the Pacific to the Atlantic. Well, I should mention that humans have been on Earth for less than 1 million years. So it's the very, very end. Okay, so let's go all the way back when the continents were south of the equator, and they were actually close to the South Pole. There was one huge supercontinent called Pangaea. That's 400 million years ago, and this is 540 million years ago. So this is the way it was. Most of the continents were close to the South Pole, south of the equator, and there was one huge supercontinent with a couple pieces. Okay, so let's, so the Cambrian explosion and so on. So let me try to see. That's now. This is 2000. That's 4,000 years ago. Let's look at 4,000 years ago. This is called the anthropomorphic, where human civilization affected the Holocene, the Pleistocene. Okay. Well, let's go back a little bit. This is into the future. This is in 7,500 years. The way will be warmer. Okay. So we said around year 0 and before, there was a huge ice age. The entire North Pole was full of ice. Let's see. Let's go back farther. 3,000 years BC. There you go. This is the last ice age. Most of the United States, all of Canada, lots of Europe were under ice. That's the Pleistocene. There you go. My goodness, that's 17,000 years ago. Look at that. Actually, there was ice at the bottom of South Africa. Temperature was around, average temperature over Earth was around 9 degrees C. And there was a lot less carbon dioxide, 187 parts per million. And you can see that, for example, North Africa was much warmer. Was warmer than most of Europe and so on. Actually, was pretty good temperature. Life was thriving in Africa and so on. Some of you might remember in the south of Algeria, they found some cave paintings in Tassili. It goes back 6,000 years ago to 10,000 years ago. So this is just after that. So while there was ice in most of the world, Algeria was pretty good weather. But there were, there was not much civilization at that time. But the cave painting shows animals, showed thriving fauna, and so on. Very good. Okay. So let me get back to that's the PowerPoint. So we covered all this global cooling, the last one, and so on. And let me add some comments here. We said that North Africa hosted, this is just an example. North Africa hosted elephants 2,000 years ago. Some of you might remember Hannibal, that led the Carthaginians army from Tunisia, Carthage, against Rome, with 37 elephants that crossed the Pyrenees and the Alps. Well, right now there are no elephants in Algeria, in North Africa, Tunisia, but 2,000 years ago there were elephants in Tunisia, and they were domesticated. All of the elephants of Africa are not domesticated, they're wild. The only elephants that can be domesticated, they're used in circuses and zoos and so on, are from Asia. But North Africa, there are no elephants left now. But way back there were elephants, and they went all the way from North Africa. They crossed the Gibraltar Strait, they crossed Spain, they crossed southern France, and they crossed the Alps. They reached the outskirts of Rome. So that's history. We mentioned that the Sahara Desert dried out some 6,000 years ago. The cave paintings are maybe that period to 12,000 and so on. We mentioned that they found the fossils of lions under Trafalgar Square in London when they were excavating. We also mentioned that DC Zoo has a lion called the Atlas lion. These Atlas lions are extinct, disappeared completely in Algeria. They still exist only in zoos and so on. I remember growing up in North Africa in a small town, not far from the capital actually. When I was a kid, I used to go to the city hall. And City Hall, they had the skin of one of these Atlas lions and the head. So it means a couple generations ago, there were some Atlas lions in North Africa, pretty close to Algiers, but not anymore, only in zoos. Another point that I want to make, say that corals were found in the Alps, which means they used to be at the bottom of the ocean. The Alps used to be at the bottom of the ocean. They found some limestones and corals and so on. We say also that palm tree fossils were found in Alaska. So Alaska used to be kind of tropical, used to be warmer. Coral fossils in Alaska, even older. Okay? These hitched a ride as part of islands that moved eastward and collided with the North American plate, continental drift, a couple of inches per year. So continents are drifting a couple of inches per year. So in other words, the Pacific Ocean is getting wider and the Atlantic Ocean is getting narrower. The Pacific Ocean is getting wider, so which means the Pacific plate is hitting and pushing the North American plate. This is why there are a lot of earthquakes and volcanoes on the west coast. San Francisco is on Pacific plate, while Los Angeles is on North American plate. LA is moving closer to San Francisco. Another point, Native Americans crossed this from Siberia to Alaska during the last ice age. They could walk from Siberia to Alaska. Before the last ice age, there were horses and camels in the Americas. They found a lot of fossils. These got all extinct, and the horses got reintroduced by the Spaniards. Very good.